Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. Sunday night for me, but that's normal most of the time. You know that. So, the holidays are past us, and as we have 2 to 6 inches of snow coming tonight, what better time than to start planting? Yes, I'm not kidding. At least for me in Zone 6B, it is time to start planting your onion seeds. And so if you're in zone 6, 7, 8, 9 on across, if you're 7, 8, 9, you're probably behind the game already. Uh, but the reason you want to start planting your onions now is because it takes about 3 months from seed to make your transplants. Okay. And you want to get your transplants in the ground somewhere about a month before your last frost. And my last frost is somewhere between mid April and the end of April. So I want to have these in the ground by mid to late March. I'm talking 10, 12 weeks at that point. So it's time for me to do this. Now, onions are a little bit fun because they are not your normal plan it and forget it crop. Okay, there's different things that you have to do to make them work. What you're doing by starting them inside now is you're trying to get the roots to grow, because then when the warm weather comes, then you're going to get the greens to grow, and then as you get to the right day amount of daylight, you're going to get the bulbs to grow. So there's actually 3 phases to growing onions. Now, first key that you need to know about growing onions is where you live. Not that that's rocket science, but there's 3 types of onions. There's short day, intermediate day, and long day onions. Okay. Short day onions are going to be grown in the south, say anywhere from northern Georgia south. Intermediate day onions are going to be grown from, say, the southern border of Tennessee up to somewhere in southern Indiana, and obviously draw a line across a map if you live out west. And then long day onions are going to be grown, say, Indianapolis north. Ballpark, roughly, that's where it goes. That's important to know because the type of onions that you grow are only going to bulb depending on the amount of sunlight you get, the amount of hours of sunlight you get. Okay. Now, for my area, obviously I need intermediate day onions. So what I have here, if you guys can see this, are candy onions, and they are 100-day maturity onions. So if I put these in late March, I should have onions somewhere 4th of July-ish, thereabouts. Okay, so that's what I'm shooting for at this point. Now, how to do this is not rocket science, but there's some tricks to it. First off, you are going to need a pot and a saucer of some sort. Okay, whether you get a black pot that's got holes in the bottom and then put a cup underneath, that's going to work fine. Me, what I've got here, I'll show you, are 2 old baking trays. I've used these a couple of years. If you're going to use old ones, guys, make sure you wash them out thoroughly first. You don't want to be bringing any disease from last year into them. But you're going to have one inside another. The one that's got the dirt in it, obviously, I've put drainage holes in. Okay. So there's your start. You're going to fill it with your potting mix or your seed starting mix. And I did a video last winter on making your own seed starting mix, which is a hell of a lot cheaper than buying seed starting mix. You buy seed starting mix in a store, you get those little 12-inch bags or whatever it is, and they're about $4 a pop. Okay. Making your own seed starting mix is real simple. I will link a video on how to do it below, but it will save you 90% on the cost of your seed starting mix. But it is important to use seed starting mix because you need that light soil. Don't try doing this in dirt that you dug out of your garden or compost or anything like that. That's a little bit too rich. All right. So take my soil. I've sterilized it. Again, you'll see that in the video that I just mentioned on seed starting mix. If you remember, sterilize it with boiling water. Keeps the fungus gnats out of the house. That's why you do that. Okay. I'm going to fill my tray, and then we're going to harken back to Thanksgiving. Anybody know what that is? That's my turkey carcass and a couple of chicken carcasses that went along that I made into bone meal. Okay. You want to mix a little bit of bone meal into your soil. For what I've got here, it was a few pinches. All right. Bone meal is high in phosphorus. It's also high in calcium, but that's immaterial at this point. But it's high in phosphorus, and because we're trying to get the roots established in these onion seeds right now, or onion starts, that's what we're going after. And phosphorus is very good for root growth. Now, take a little bit of that, sprinkle it into your soil, mix it all together. Phosphorus has bone meal, has about somewhere between a 15 and 25% concentration of phosphorus. So it's very high in phosphorus. It's very good and free if you saved your Thanksgiving turkey or any chicken bones or whatever. And I've done a video on how to make bone meal as well. Don't go out and spend crazy money on it. If you eat chicken, have chicken bones or turkey bones or beef bones or whatever it is, make your own bone meal. Works just as well. It's all you're doing is the same thing that the store does to sell you a whole bunch of stuff for a lot of money. So you're going to mix that all in. Don't add too much, because too much phosphorus will burn your plants. So you don't want to do that. But mix it all in together. And then, as you can see here, I have, let's see, which way do I want to go? That way. So I've kind of firmed down my soil here. All right. Not that it's going to matter much, but right now it just makes life a little easier because I can see it, because I'm going to stir all that up in a second. Now, onion seeds, as I get this thing open. Yeah, of course, you know me without fingernails. It's always fun getting stuff open. There you go. What do you know? I got it. Okay, so onion seeds are very tiny. And if you've ever planted them before, you know what I mean. But, there's probably, this packet's got 1,000 seeds in it, and I've probably got a third of them right there. So that's probably 300 seeds right there. And all I'm going to do is sprinkle these all around my soil. No big deal. Okay. You're not trying to do them in little single cells or anything like that. You don't need to with oil or with onions. And I'll explain that in a second. And I'll drop the rest of those in there. And that's it. So now all I'm going to do is just kind of stir them down a little so I get some good soil to seed contact. Make sure they're all in the soil. And I'm not pushing down here 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. I'm just lightly going up around here to rough up the soil. Make sure everything's in there. And then all I'm going to do is firm it all down again. This is about as simple as you get, guys. Okay, but there is specifics that you have to do it. And last year my onions failed. My leeks did fine, and I did it the exact same way. Now I think the reason that my onions failed last year was because I probably had bad seeds, because I tried 3 different times and they failed every time. So I got to think my seeds were bad. So different seeds this year. I'm using Haas seeds, which I've never had problems with Haas seeds before. So hence that's what I've got. So literally that's it. All I'm going to do is put this, you can put it under grow lights. You can put it in a sunny window, either way, whichever one you want to do. When you water it, just lift up your bottom tray. You're best off bottom watering here. In my case, lift up the one tray, put about 1/4 inch of water in the bottom and let it soak up into the seeds. The seeds are going to grow. It's going to start looking like grass coming up, which is fine. And as they get a little bit higher, all you can do is take some scissors and you're going to give them a haircut. All right. Trim them off, keep them maybe about 3 inches high. Trim them off every couple of weeks. You don't want them to get real gangly or anything like that. You don't need that. You're focusing on root growth right now. So just trim those down 2 to 3 inches high, and you're going to be good. But here it is. It's January 2nd for me, January 3rd for you guys. It's time to play in the dirt. We get to do this. And it's the first thing we get to do before planting peas, which that happens in about a month or so. So I will give you the tip, if y'all remember from last year, if you're going to plant peas, go out and find your rain gutters, if you remember how I did that last year. All right, there's onions 2022. See y'all later. Pinball out.